Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Eternal Life Plan. We got started a little different because Sugar Kitty jumped up here and moved the mouse and hit the intro too soon. So I want to welcome you all back. Oh my gosh, it has been since October 3rd since I did my last video. Oh my gosh, it's hard to believe it's been almost a month since I did my last video, and there's a reason for that. One of the followers reached out to me and asked me if I was okay because it had been a while since I've done a video. And the truth of the matter is, I don't ever like to talk about my struggles because there's other people who have it far worse than me. And one of my friends is actually in stage 4 cancer, lung cancer, but he gets up and he works every single day. So it's like, who am I to complain about what I'm going through? But the truth of the matter is, I've been in a lot of pain and I haven't been able to walk. As you all know that I went through the move from hell. Yeah, if you don't know, I fell 3 times, not because I lost my balance, because my foot got caught on a box, or little husky fuss got wrapped around me and I fell. And another time was due to a box. My shoe got caught on the box and I fell. So I fell 3 times. The first time, though, I really think I injured myself bad, even though nothing showed up on the imaging and I didn't hit my head. I mean, I did hit my head, but no concussion. I hit so hard, though, I knocked my glasses off, but I didn't realize how much damage I had actually done to my body. So I started in physical therapy in October, and the physical therapist asked me what was my goal. And I said, so I can walk into mass again, because I haven't even been able to walk into mass. I cannot walk from the car into even the grocery store. It's been that bad. I'm all hunched over when I walk through the house, and I'm like, feeling the walls to keep my balance because I've had so much weakness in my right leg, which is the right side I fell on. So been um it's been a long journey, and you really look at, man, aging really can do a number on you. I've shared with you all that I'll be 70 in May. I just might as well call myself 70. And so falling 3 times within days of each other just really took a toll on me, more than what I wanted to admit, to be honest with you. So, it's been it's been a tough journey. Well, today was another physical therapy day, and it went so well that I was able to stand up straight and walk straight and not have to hold on to things. And it's like, oh, thank you, God. And she told me it's just going to take you a while. Just keep coming. We'll keep working on you. But what happened is my pelvic moved out of place from those falls. So my pelvic on the left side was protruding, and my right side of my pelvic was going back. So my left leg became longer than my right leg. So she's been doing all of these massage therapy on me and adjusting the muscles and things like that on my pelvic, um, which I would have never thought in my wildest days that's what the problem was. Even when I went in there each week, she says, "You're still standing like you're leaning left." And I look at myself in the mirror and I can't see it, but she said she definitely can see it. So today was my first good day. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, while I feel good, and I can stand and I can walk, I'm going to try to vote." So, um, through all of this, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I should have registered for a mail-in ballot. That's what I should have done." But I've always voted in person on voting day, on election day, every time I voted. And I didn't want to do the mail-in ballot thing basically because I don't trust it. But as you know, back in the summer, I told you I didn't even know if I was going to vote because I've been so upset that Trump changed his pro-life position. And I've been praying about this. I've been studying what the Republican Party has been saying about abortions. I don't agree with it at all because basically what has happened, everyone, and you probably already know this, that since Roe versus Wade was overturned, then Trump and the Republican Party said it's up to the states to legislate, to do the legislation for abortion. It's out of our hands. And that really never sat well with me because, in my view, there should be no abortion. There should be abortion should be abolished. So, how did I get to this place of voting? And I even considered writing in on the ballot God and voting for God for president. So, how did I finally make this jump into I know who I'm going to vote for and I know who I'm not going to vote for? How did I make that jump? Well, let me show you. Just stick with me on this story. So, Wednesday night, this past Wednesday night, here's my little kitties. This is Sugar Kitty on my chair. This is in my living room looking out into the patio. There's a private patio off the master bedroom. So here I am. I took the picture of Sugar Kitty sitting in my prayer chair, and this chair is up against my bed. I have a four-poster bed, no canopy, just a four-poster bed. And I was sitting there one night, Wednesday night, and it was around dusk, and I'm reading the Bible, and I am looking outside and contemplating what I read. And the sky in the background was this beautiful red. I wish I would have thought to taken a picture of that. So that made me think about what my dad always said because he was a sailor. He was in the Navy. And that is red sky morning, sailor's warning, red sky at night, sailor's delight. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what was that saying my dad always said about red skies? What was it? What was it? So I picked up my iPhone and I Googled it real quick and I got the words. But here's what I didn't know. Did you guys know this? Maybe you knew it because, I describe myself as a shabby Catholic anyhow. Matthew 16:23. Do you all have your Bible? Here's my here's my tattered Bible because Sugar Kitty tore it up. Here's what it says in Matthew 16, chapter 16, verse 2 and 3. He said to them in reply, meaning Jesus, "In the evening you say, tomorrow will be fair, for the sky is red. And in the morning, today will be stormy, for the sky is red and threatening. You know how to judge the appearance of the sky, but you cannot judge the signs of the time." Well, that astonished me. I mean, I've read that before, but I didn't know that this little poem came out of Matthew 16, uh, verses 2 to 3. I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? Tell me in the comments because, man, I sure didn't know that. And I'm sorry I'm dressed shabby. I still got my I voted sticker on my sweatshirt right now, and I didn't take it off. But so I read that. I looked it up in the Bible and I went, "Oh my gosh, I never knew this." So I'm sitting there thinking about the Bible verse of Matthew 16 of the red sky. This is how my mind works, everyone. You get a glimpse into my pondering. And I just kind of sat there and pondered that verse. And Jesus never forced his viewpoints and his teachings on anyone. He never did. And then I thought about Jesus was teaching us how to live a moral, good, honest life, really. He came to save us, but he also came to teach us. And I thought about that. He wasn't teaching the Romans or insisting the Roman government adopt these morality issues. He was just teaching everyday people the truth. All right. I started thinking about that and started pondering that and started pondering that. And I brought it to our lives as it is today. So many people want the government to step in and abolish abortion. I believe that the unborn should be given personhood under the Constitution. That's what I believe. But the corporate pro-life movement is not going to abolish abortion because that takes away their $1 million, right? They're not going to do it. And we got to stop relying on the politicians and the government to rule on moral issues. Yes, we were a country founded on Judeo-Christian principles. I don't doubt that at all. I don't dispute that. But what I'm saying is what finally pushed me over the edge to say I can vote is because that responsibility is ours. That responsibility is ours to help people see the evils of abortion. The corporate pro-life movement's never going to do it. And the last video I did, I interviewed John Ryan, who has been in the pro-life ministry since the very beginning in 1973. That's how long he's been in, way before Abby Johnson, way before Priests for Life, way before Lila Rose, way before all these people. He was on the ground doing the work, not trying to make millions, but trying to change minds and hearts. And I believe, I guess I can say, I felt comfortable with this realization that I want Donald Trump to abolish abortion. He ain't going to do it. I want my state legislation to abolish abortion. They're never going to do it. We've got to do it ourselves and not rely on the government to do it for us. Okay. That's kind of my metamorphosis on this subject, because I'll be honest with you, until Wednesday, I still was not sure who I was going to vote for. I knew I couldn't vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, that would be insanity. Who can vote for a woman who has no problem with babies being aborted up to birth, even though they say that isn't happening? Well, Guttmacher Institute had recently published a report that over 12,000 abortions have been done outside of 24 weeks. So 24 weeks and beyond, there's been about 12,000 abortions that have taken place where these little vulnerable babies could easily live outside the womb. They've been aborted. 8,000 of those were elective. They were elective abortions. They were not due to any kind of a medical emergency, putting the mother at risk. They weren't because the baby was deformed and wouldn't be able to survive. None of that. Think about that. 8,000 women chose to abort, kill their babies when they could live outside the womb. I mean, that's unconscionable to me. What I did with my abortions, they were before 12 weeks. I'll never forgive myself for that. I know I have to, but because God forgave me, so I must forgive myself. And I'm not bigger than God, so I've got to do what he says, but it's a struggle. It's a lifelong struggle. But I can't imagine the burden that these women must be going through when they murdered their babies knowing they could live outside the womb. Okay? So after I did this whole pondering of, reading Matthew 16, thinking about how Jesus handled the Romans. I'm not a theologian, you all, and maybe my thinking is faulty, but I just felt inspired by the way I was thinking. And I've told you, God said to me, Jesus will never leave his bride, the church. That was as clear as bell. This was more inspired, and I want to think it was the Holy Spirit. Okay. Now, why do I think I was right about this and I got a clear message? Because when I voted, I felt as happy and joyful and excited just like I do when I leave confession. It was the very same feeling. So I believe that what I was inspired to do was the right decision. That's what I believe. It was the right decision. There we go. So I go to physical therapy and, I wore this sweatshirt and sweatpants, and I normally would not have gone anywhere else looking shabby, but at least I had my makeup on. I didn't have lipstick on, but I had my makeup on. And I decided, all right, if I'm going to go, I can stand up straight, I can walk, maybe I can stand in line and vote. What I didn't expect was the line to be as long as it was. I've never early voted. I've always voted on election day, but man, they were telling us it was an hour-long wait. So I did my little video while I was standing in line, and there was a young lady in front of me, and she turned around, and I said, "Oh, I hope I didn't offend you with that video that I'm not voting for Kamala Harris." And she goes, "Oh, no, you're okay. You're okay." And her and I started talking, and we kept ourselves we kept ourselves company the whole time we were moving through this line. And it felt like that it went by in 5 minutes when it actually went by in about an hour. And so we were talking about movies that we'd seen and Netflix series and Prime series and things like that. All these series that we've watched and the craziness of all of this. And I asked her how old she was, and she said she was 32. And I said, "Oh, you're my son's age." She goes, "Yeah, this is my first time voting." Oh my gosh, that just really gripped me when she said that. God bless her. I don't know how she voted. I asked, and she said, I asked her who she was going to vote for, and she's, "Well, I don't feel comfortable talking about it." And I said, "That's fine. I totally understand. No worries." Um, I told her about my YouTube channel, this channel, Eternal Life Plan. I told her about my Savvy Sales Lady Live channel. And I asked her what she did, and she's a waitress. So we talked about the whole tip controversy and all of that. And so we're just moving through the line, moving through the line. Her name is Caroline. Everyone pray for Caroline. I don't think well, I know she's not Catholic. She didn't mention it. I don't know if she's Christian, but she was the sweetest young lady. And I could tell her heart was in the right place. I don't know who she voted for. Um, but let's keep Caroline in our prayers. I'm going to keep her in our prayers. And it just reinforced to me that all of this noise we see on social media about people, going after each other and people being mean to each other, out in the world, I didn't find that at all standing in this line of people who were all there to vote. No idea who they were voting for, but people, it was a beautiful fall day. It was like in the mid 50s. And people were just, some of them were staying to themselves. Others were chatting with the people around them. The two ladies behind us chatted about their nutrition all the way through the line. But then when we got into the voting place, and it was at St. Luke's United Methodist Church. That's the same voting center I go to all the time. Never, ever experienced a line. Never. Usually, you walk in and there might be a few people there, and then you walk out. You vote and you walk out. This was a whole nother setup. Um, so we get in there, and little Caroline, you know, waved goodbye. She was off on her way to do her first voting. And I told her before, we got into the building, I said, "Oh, you're going to feel so good that you voted. You're just going to feel so good about it. Congratulations that you decided to do this. No matter who you voted for, you decided to take your right as a citizen to cast your vote." And I said, "I hope you do it every time we vote in Indiana or wherever you go." So she was such a sweet girl. Um, and so we get in there, and of course, you go to your booth, and right away, ooh, probably shouldn't say this, but I voted out every judge. Every judge. I do this every time I vote. I vote out all the judges because I don't want them staying on that bench forever. So I voted out all the judges, and I voted straight ticket Republican. I did, everyone. I voted for Trump. I felt peace about it because of this whole journey that I just shared with you that I went on. I thought a lot about, if I write in a name, I'm throwing away my vote. And we're at a very, very critical juncture in this country. Do I believe that God has our back? I do. I do. Um, do I believe that, Trump will come around about abortion? I don't know. But as I said earlier, we can't put our faith in these politicians to do the right thing when it comes to the unborn. It's really got to uh it's got to come down to us. And keep this in mind, 63% of the abortions are being done by the abortion pill. That's what it's been done. There has been so much misinformation in the media about women dying because the pro-life agenda killed them. It when you drill down into what actually happened, it had nothing to do with them being denied an abortion. It had everything to do with their care. And just like the woman, I am so sorry, I can't remember her name, that died in Georgia, she died of sepsis. She did not die because of, she was denied treatment because of an abortion, as Kamala Harris said. She had taken the abortion pills without a doctor's supervised supervision, and she ended up getting sepsis, if I'm saying that right. You know, it's one of the most fatal infections you can get. If you don't treat it right away, you're going to die. And that's what it was. And they had her in the hospital, I believe, almost 24 hours before they tested her for that. I don't get why they didn't do that in the beginning. So that's got nothing to do with abortion laws, nothing. But they'll tell everyone that it does. So, basically, I've come to the conclusion that you can't rely on the government to legislate abortion. You can't rely on the corporate pro life movement to do anything about abortion because they're not going to let their gravy train run dry. It's got to be up to us. We've got to be on the ground talking to women. And let's not forget this one item, everyone. Men don't want the abortions to go away. Hold on. I'm not talking about the men that don't want their girlfriends or their wives to get an abortion. I'm talking about the men who do not want their girlfriend or their wife to get pregnant and insist on them getting an abortion. There are more of those men out there than the ones who are trying to protect the unborn baby. It's those men that don't want that want to keep abortion going as well. And let's face it, it in their view, it's one form of birth control, right? To abort the baby. So there's that problem as well. And with the premarital sex that's going on in our society throughout the world, they don't want to take that away. I mean, they just don't want to take that away. So it's got to be us that's going to have to protect the unborn, to teach young girls, young ladies, how to conduct themselves. So many young ladies and young men are not growing up in Christian homes anymore or Catholic homes anymore. We've got to do our part in order to raise awareness, not even raise awareness, but talk to people about how you're supposed to live, how you're supposed to treat each other. You know, The morals have just gone out the door. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. So I hope this makes sense how I came through this whole problem I was having. Do I vote? Don't I vote? Who do I vote for? Who do I do? I mean, it was obvious I was never going to vote for Biden. I was never going to vote for Kamala Harris. So it was either Trump or a write-in. And if I did a write-in, I was throwing my vote away, and I did not want to throw my vote away. And I don't believe this whole theory of the worst of two evils, vote for the worst of the two evils. I don't see Trump as evil. I don't. I think abortion is evil. I think that he may have been persuaded by the pro-life movement who kicked him to the curb. He might have, changed his pro-life position because of them. I don't know. I don't know what changed it other than Roe versus Wade was reversed, and it all now is being decided by the states. So in his mind, it's no longer a federal issue. That's what it appears to be. Again, my belief is that the unborn should fall under the Constitution as personhood, being given the right of personhood, and that would protect them. But I don't know who is going to bring that forward. I don't know. So I will get to your questions and comments now, because there it is, everyone. That's how I kind of came around to this whole voting thing. And because I'm now walking, oh my gosh, I can now walk and stand up straight. I will be going to confession in the morning and mass on Sunday. Just pray that this pain and what I've been going through continues to heal, and I can continue to practice by the sacraments, by going to daily mass, going to communion, going to confession, and going to Sunday mass. I have not been to daily mass or Sunday mass since all of this pain has started. And, I know my priest said that, that's okay because I've not been, it wasn't intentional. And then sometimes I ask myself, could I have crawled in the mass? Wasn't my ego keeping me because I couldn't stand straight and I didn't know if my legs were going to give out on me? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to on, first Saturday of the month, right? Yeah, confession. Yep. And then mass. All right. Let me get to that's embarrassing for me to talk about too, everyone. It really is. The fact that I have had to miss confession and I've had to miss mass. That's really, really embarrassing for me to admit. Oh, it's true. All right. Lou. Hi, Lou. So glad you're able to go to PT. Thank you. Yes. Boy, was that a lifesaver. Deb, so glad you're feeling better. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Rosemary. Rosemarie, I'm sorry. So glad you're back. Christine was wondering how you were. So glad you're getting PT. Yep. Lou says, I had no clue. I know, I didn't share it with anybody. I really didn't. My friend that has stage 4 lung cancer, I'm always going, what do I got to complain about? He's got stage 4 lung cancer and he continues to work every day. I continue to work too. I mean, I'm sitting in this chair doing virtual trainings. And that's part of the problem because I sit too much. So during my virtual trainings, I give them an activity and then I try to get up and walk around and try to walk through this pain and this stiffness that I have. So, and she explained to me that what's happening is my muscles are trying to realign my body back into position. And so that's the pain that I'm experiencing. I mean, my legs feel like stone. I'm not kidding you. It's like they don't bend. They feel like stone. And I've got this gripping pain going across my lower back from hip to hip. And that's where it's all, I get hunched over. I can't straighten back up. And I'm like, feeling the walls trying to get down the hall. Craziness. Deb says, I didn't know that either. Are you talking about Matthew 16? Deb, is that what you're talking about? Lou says, some people call them Pro-Life Inc. Yeah. Yeah, I think Father Emberado calls them Pro-Life Inc. Rosemary, Christine, you look way younger than turning 70. I thought you were in your early 60s, maybe. No, Rosemary, I am. And that's my deceased aunt's name too, Rosemary. She was a beautiful woman. No, I'm gonna be 70 next year. True story. Deb says, do you keep a journal when you have these insights? Yes, I do, Deb. Yep, thanks for asking. This is the Holy Spirit. I'm going to start writing mine down too so I don't forget. I went to vote early too. You are right. I felt so relieved. Yeah, I always write things down. I'm big on journals. Matter of fact, I said to my friend Christine Chrisley that, one of these days I'm going to have to get rid of some of these journals so that my son doesn't read them. Revealing too much information. Nothing bad, but just stuff you wouldn't want your son to know. But yes, I do journal these insights. I absolutely do. And this is the thing, everyone. So I ponder at least 2 or 3 times a day. Pondering used to be a thing. All right. So in journalism schools back in the 40s and 50s, in order for a journalist to write a story, they would gather the information and then they would sit and ponder the information. I mean, could sit for a couple of hours just staring at a window, thinking it through. Now, I don't do it for hours, but I do sit and ponder. I'll look out my window and I thank God for giving me trees. I don't know why. I like looking at trees for some reason, but I'll sit in my prayer chair and I'll just look out the window and I just start pondering what it is that I read in the Bible or something I've journaled or something I've been, chewing on, like who to vote for, whether I voted for Trump or I would write in a vote. And I'm glad that finally on Wednesday I came to a conclusion because until then I wasn't sure. I really wasn't. Whoops. I'm sorry, Deb. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that. Thank you. All right. Deb says, my family is so divided. I'm praying for them. All right, Deb. Yeah. Fortunately, my son and I are on the same page. It could be because he grew up with me talking politics with my dad all the time. Okay, MAGA Man says, if forced, but only if forced. You vote for the lesser of two evils that way. Yeah, the lesser of two evils. I think I said the worst of two evils. What do you mean, if forced? I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. And then MAGA Man said, you vote for the good by limiting evil as far as possible. It's not a perfect world. And then he says, Houston, Texas has 17 gay bars. Texas has hundreds. if you're gay and if you can help it, don't move to Houston, Texas. Well, we all know who's living in Houston, Texas, don't we? Michael Voris. Lou says, well said, Mega Man. All right. Deb, yes, man. Okay, so you didn't know about Matthew 16 either. Yeah, isn't that fascinating? It's just so fascinating, isn't it? And then Rosemarie says, you're so right about the abortion issue. I think somehow people, especially women, need to learn exactly what this is, and hearts and minds need to be changed. Rosemarie, you are absolutely right, because did you guys see that video? I think Charlie Kirk of Turning Point did it. He went out to I think it's Charlie. He went out to the college campuses and he was asking, and this was this past week, he was asking young college students, female college students, who they were going to vote for. And no surprise, they were going to vote for Kamala Harris. Well, why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Well, because of abortion. Okay, so why are you voting? Why do you think, or how did he say that? So what do you think she's going to do with abortion? Well, she's going to protect women to be able to have an abortion. And he said, well, if you voted for Trump, you would still be able to have an abortion. And a few of them said, no, he's banning abortions. And Charlie Kirk says, no, that's a lie that the left has put out there. If, Trump is not banning abortions. Wish he would, everyone, but he's not. And so this just proves that these young women are voting for Kamala only because of abortion. My guess is they won't vote. They won't vote at all, because that would require them to go to a voting booth. My guess is they wouldn't vote at all. But it is up to us to educate these young ladies. I used to be asked all the time to give speeches at the high schools or to give speeches at colleges. Guys, it's been, I bet, 7 years since I've been asked to do my pro-life story. They just don't care anymore. They just don't even want to talk about it anymore, because it's become so mainstream. And that is so sad. And it will become, with the abortion pill, it will become just as accessible as the birth control pill. And I know that the birth control pill started this whole movement. Lou says, wow, 7 years. Yeah, it's been a very long time since and I asked my other pro-life friends, I asked my other pro-life friends if they've been asked to speak, and none of them have been asked either. We used to be asked to speak at churches too, which I've done a lot of churches, Catholic and Protestant. No, nobody's getting asked anymore. Isn't that interesting? And of course, when we do our Rachel's Vineyard retreats, which is a Catholic healing retreat for post-abortive women, the Catholic parishes in Indiana won't even put it in their bulletin. They won't even put it in their bulletin. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. So JM, hi JM. JM gave Mega Man the thumbs up. All right, everyone. I just wanted to pop in. I have tried to get some guests going, but it's like everybody is so focused on the election that, reach out to me after the election, reach out to me after the election. So hopefully I'll be able to get some guests on. Karen says, got here late. So good to see you again, Christine. Good to see you, Karen. Thanks for popping on. Um, and one of the things that, Karen, since you're late, you can always watch the replay once this is over. It'll be on YouTube, so you can start all over and watch it if you got in here late. So thank you, Karen, for your support. And then Lou says, so glad you're at peace with your voting decision. Yeah, finally, because it's along with the pain, along with the not being able to stand up straight and limping along. That was the other thing that was just really eating at me. And I'm glad I finally got some peace on it. So, I know what I said may not agree with everyone, but that's okay. That's America. We all have to pray for each other. We all have to help each other. And we all have to give each other some grace. That's absolutely right. Deb, I can hardly wait till election is over. God willing, Trump will win. Well, yes. And Christine Chrisley asked me this the other night when we were talking. She said, if Kamala wins, are you at peace with that? And I told her, I said, honestly, I don't know. I cannot fathom that right now. I don't know how I will react if that happens. I do know one thing. If she wins, it was because of cheating. And when I voted, because there was so many things on social media that was saying, be sure to check your ballot up against how you really voted, because in Indiana, they use those stupid machines, which I wish they wouldn't. So I made sure I checked that Donald J. Trump and JD Vance was who I voted for. And actually, I just voted straight Republican. There isn't a Democrat around I would ever vote for. None. There are no Democrats I would ever vote for. And here's something. I'll just add this in. Last night, I kind of got in a an X fight on X with one of our city councilmen here in Indianapolis, trying to tell me that we are democracy. And I said, you sit on the city council and you don't even know basic civics. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. And he was challenging me on this. And I was like, I cannot believe a city councilman doesn't know the difference. I said, matter of fact, the United States of America is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And he said they're one and the same. The city councilman. So Monday, I will be writing the city councilman, the city council, a letter that they need to give these people a basic civics class if they're going to represent the city. Is that not nuts? And of course, on his bio, he claims to be a proud Democrats for Socialism. There you have it. A George Soros plant in Indianapolis. They're planted everywhere. But they don't even have a clue what the Constitution is all about, that we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Oh, sorry, Lou. Thank you. I muted it to cough and I thought I had muted it. Sorry, everyone. All right. So I'll start over. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Someone tell me. All right. I'm going to assume you can hear me now because I'm off mute. um, all right. So I came down with a cold last week, just your good old fashioned cold, right? So I had a follow up appointment with the doctor, lab test, and checking in on me about my back and my leg and this whole thing I've been going through, right? So she asked me if do you want me to do a COVID test? And I'm like, no, I had COVID. I know what that feels like. I said, are we allowed to say that we just have an old fashioned cold? Does everything have to come down to COVID? And she laughed. Her and I on the same page about everything, about everything. So we had a good laugh about that. I said, no, just an old fashioned cold here that I got. So I still have a little bit of residue of coughing and my throat being a little scratchy. So that's what that is, everyone. Didn't mean to put it on mute though, as I thought I had finished up coughing and took it off mute. So, all right. Anybody else have any other questions or comments or something you want to ask me that I haven't gone over? Anybody? I'm going to try to be on more regularly. I promise you on that. Going to try to get some guests on. Um um Karen Stark, look up Matthew 16:23, and this matches this. Red sky morning, sailor's warning, red sky at night, sailor's delight. I discovered that this little poem came from Matthew 16:2 to 3. Something Jesus said. So look it up, Karen. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. We're just about at an hour. I so appreciate you all jumping on and hearing my crazy stories. Um, I'll pray for you. If you, well, I shouldn't say if, I'll pray for you. And I'm going to ask that you pray for my back and my legs. Pray for that. And I'll see you soon. And go out and vote if you haven't voted. Do the vote. We got to win this thing. And then we've got to really, really, really concentrate on getting the unborn, on having the right of personhood on the Constitution. We got to get out there and help the unborn be able to live. So, bye, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Okay. I promise it won't be a month. Bye bye.